Friday morning, can't control it. Fired up and counting every minute. Hands are shaking, eyes are burning. The time has come, yeah, this is not a warning. The week was just so long, we had to let it go. Our problems disappeared, we're not tied up anymore. The weekend is here. Sunday calls, we are sick and tired of it. Up and down, can you feel it? Up and down.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Johansson show. I'm joined by the Nine9, Jack Morris, Dickie Divers. Thanks for coming on.
No bother.
It only took us about half an hour to get you on Skype, didn't it?
Just about. I'm not the best with technology, to be quite honest.
But don't you stream games and stuff like that, though?
Yeah, but that's easy. That's literally just plugging a camera into my PlayStation and away I go.
This was just clicking on a link that I send you.
Well, it didn't work, alright. Don't know what you want from me.
Well, to shift the blame away from you, then I said I was going to open on it. Sarah not caring about Opie dying in Sons of Anarchy. What's with that?
She's a fucking monster. That's what she is.
Jack, have you seen Sons of Anarchy?
Nah, you just spoiled it for me.
I was going to say this is where season 1 is just.
We actually had a conversation about TV series the other day. I've got so much to watch.
Mate, there's been a pandemic. Like,
I know.
Time.
No, it's true.
But Jack's been doing nothing but working out in his garage.
That's pretty much. Yeah. Watch rest, work out. That's what I do.
How have you been finding it?
Dog.
How have you been finding the pandemic, both of you?
Just same as everybody else, just kind of sick of it now, aren't you? Just kind of wanting a wee bit of normality. Want to get back to like wrestling in front of people and just living a life. Like it's just gets a bit depressing, I suppose, is the only word I can use. Like hearing the government every time you think there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, it's like they sweep the carpet away from under you, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
stuck in a house even longer. Jesus.
Probably not going to help with Rangers just going on the square as well.
Ugh, them and their one title.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers their first.
You're a Celtic fan?
No, I'm a Hearts fan, so I can't really talk, but I just think it's really funny.
What about yourself, Jack?
Dunfermline, unfortunately.
That's one of the things we're gutted about. We were going to go to some of the games together this year. I was going to go to the Hearts end, he was going to go in the Dunfermline end. So no, stuck in the house.
We'll get next year when we both go up, though. And
What?
we'll be on FIFA too.
Aren't Hearts in the second division now, or are you back in the SPL?
No, we're still in Championship. We're ahead by like 15 points, I think, though, so I can't see. I think there's only about, 7 games left, so I can't see us going back down or staying down.
This is where the government just cancel football and null and void the season.
Well, to be fair, do you know what? I would take that if it meant Rangers didn't win the league. Because I would just love to see their fans go absolutely tonto.
It just makes me laugh because it's the same conversation as last year with Liverpool. Everybody was just like, nah, scrap the league, don't let them win the league.
Again, that would have been hilarious.
But I can't talk. My team's in League One of English football now, so we've had a fall from grace from the Premier League. But yeah, so you mentioned you want to get in front of wrestling in front of fans and stuff. How have you both been finding these like closed set ICW tapings with no fans?
Strange.
Very unnatural. Takes a bit to get used to, like.
Yeah, one thing I will say that's good about it though, like not just for us but for just all the sort of younger talent are now getting opportunities, because obviously we can't bring people in from down south, whatever, because obviously the travel restrictions and stuff. The one thing that I think that a lot of people are learning is how to work to a camera.
Yeah.
Because beforehand, even with like the hard cam or travelling cams, whatever, a lot of people that were just coming in the door are obviously fair enough panicking and just like sort of concentrating to the crowd, and maybe the hard cam, but they're lucky. Whereas because there's no crowd there, they're now pandering to the hard cam, and they're having to force themselves to sort of pander to the moving cameras as well. Yeah. So I mean, that's obviously going to help them if they're ever looking for a job with AEW or WWE or whatever, because they're looking for people with TV experience.
Yeah, definitely. What about yourself, Jack? Like, how you been finding it? You said it was a bit weird.
Yeah, it's just unnatural. Obviously, you're used to the crowd being there and working to the crowd, and when it's just a couple of guys with cameras stuck in your face, and it's more or less silence when you're wrestling, it's completely different. But after a few matches, it's just now it feels normal.
Yeah,
like, we're used to it now. So,
especially with like ICW, they're known for the rowdy crowds. Everybody's getting pissed, singing to Madonna and whatever else comes out of the stereos. And like, how do you feel about when fans can come back then? Because you just said, Jack, like you've got used to it and you've got used to no fans being there. But now when you've got the big arenas and everybody going rowdy and everyone getting pissed and stuff, you can't just keep focusing on that hard cam. You're going to be trying to bring in the crowd as well. And do you think adrenaline might take over? Like you're just going to be a real excited kid again? Like
100%. That's the main. I think like without the crowd, your adrenaline levels aren't there until maybe like a minute or two into the match, and you're like, okay, I'm actually wrestling here. Whereas with the crowd and you're making your entrance, you're pumped for it. So
yeah. As much as you get used to like wrestling in front of no crowd, it's the silence is the thing you can't get used to.
yeah,
Because all you can hear is obviously your footsteps, the ring, and the cameraman moving about. That's pretty much it.
yeah, definitely. You see some like with the selling, you can hear it a lot more, and people are. Does that seem quite weird, especially when you're watching it back? Because normally you'll be selling and emoting to the crowd and making the sounds, but when there's no audience and it's echoing and stuff like that, does that throw you off a little bit, or?
Yeah, yes, I know. I suppose it's just again one of those things that you just kind of get used to it. Like it does sound a bit odd. Obviously, if for example Jack's out doing a singles match and I'm backstage,
Yeah,
and we do have monitors so we can watch what's going on in the ring. It does seem a bit odd that I can obviously hear everything that Jack's doing, but I'm watching it on a screen. Whereas if we were watching it on a monitor when the place is full of fans, you can't hear a thing that's happening in that ring. Everything you see is just the crowd and what you see on the screen. So that's the part of it's a bit odd for me.
yeah, definitely. How did you feel when ICW got in touch and was like, right, we're going to be doing these set of tapings and they're going to be on the WWE network as well? Like you mentioned, Jack has just been in the gym all the time, like at his house just getting stacked, but like 90% of the UK, everybody's just been eating crap and getting out of shape. Like, how did you both find it when it was like, shit, I need to be in wrestling shape again?
Well,
I was buzzing. I was like,
I mean, I've tried my best, but I mean, I'm still trying to work off the lockdown gut that I gave myself. I spent the first 9 months doing nothing but drinking beer and eating pizza. It was magic. now I've got a bloody spin bike in my living room.
Still eating the pizza though, whilst you.
No, I'm not allowed to do that. I tried, but Sarah keeps stealing it off me.
Oh, brilliant. But when you get told it's going to be on the WWE network, like again, ICW have always been a popular company and they've always had international eyes on their video on demand, but now you're on the network. Like that's opening up so many more, and I know the network in America, it's been sold to Peacock. So how does that feel that you're on the network to begin with?
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
It is good. I mean, obviously, I would say it would be a lot better if it was matches in front of a crowd, so people could actually kind of feel the emotion and stuff like that, and like get into it with the crowd. It seems that's the one part I'll give Billy Kirkwood and Jamie Kennedy their due. Like they are brilliant at their job. They proper get you psyched up when you're watching it, but it's just not the same as watching something and hearing the crowd as well as the commentators. Like it's just that. I'd say that's probably the one big thing I miss is doing the big bump or the big spot or whatever and hearing that crowd absolutely go mental.
Yeah, definitely. Has the product had to change with it being on the network? Because have you had to calm down? I know you guys have got a cage match coming up at Barred, but is there anything like don't be doing this or don't be doing that because it is on the network, or is it just go be insane like usual?
No, they're pretty much letting us do our thing. I would say that there's a lot more production in the product now than there was. Usually it was just a case of, here's your matches, go and do your thing. Whereas now, because obviously it's been filmed and stuff like that, they're wanting to obviously produce it and direct it a lot more and make it look the part.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So when did you two come together then? Like, how did the 9-9 become a thing?
So do you want to take it?
I'll take it, yeah. So I joined Reckless Intent, started training, and Divers was obviously a regular there. And then must have been first or second show, we were doing the ring job. And I was helping offload the van, Divers there too, and I think we just spent the whole ring setup just talking about Brooklyn Nine-9, quoting episodes, having a laugh.
Like a good 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Was set up. And I think we recently as well, we were put together in a wee group with a couple of other people. And then, yeah, just from there, friendship just kind of kicked off, and then got the opportunity to do tag team stuff. And because of the way we started and that first kind of conversation, the name naturally came.
Just kind of fit in.
I'm glad, because every time I see like anything to do with like your graphics or anything like that, in my head I'm just going 9-9. Like, you know, I'd have been so disappointed if it was just
A random name.
Yeah, it's just some of the story as to why.
Yeah.
What's your favourite characters from 9-9?
Ooh, that's a loaded question, I think.
I'd probably go Holt, to be honest.
I do enjoy Holt. Some of his part was brilliant. I don't know. I really like Santiago. I think she's hilarious. Like some of the facial she pulls and stuff like that, and just her reactions to some of the stuff that always has me buckled.
Do you think it might turn into like AOR, Reckless Tag Champs, doing stuff in ICW? Do you think you're going to get to the stage where you are Hitchcock and Scully?
I like to think we're already there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got the body, so you know.
Which one's which?
Oh, that's a loaded question as well.
This is where I just end up getting rid of the 9-9. Like, you're going to split up on it.
I'd say there's a bit of both in both of us. Let's just put it that way.
Good answer, yeah.
Brilliant. You in, like, surely Bruce Willis has to be in the final episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? Otherwise, anything else I'm just going to be disappointed with. Like, if Jake doesn't get to meet him.
If he is, that would be epic. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. So, how did you find, like, so obviously you got this chemistry, you like Brooklyn Nine-Nine together. What was the chemistry like in the ring for like the first couple of times? Was he a bit where you're like, not sure if it's going to work, or did you just click instantly?
I would say we clicked pretty quickly. Even when, like I say, when Reckless Intent put us together as part of like another group, there was like 3 or 4 other guys, and it was always me and Jack that were the team, and then the other guys were just kind of there. They would do the run-ins and the sort of single stuff where me and Jack would always put as a team together.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a point where we were thinking, this isn't really fitting into place. Like, I'd say from the start, we're pretty much, after the first couple of matches, we were like, we're going to make a proper go at being a team as opposed to, just 2 random wrestlers put together.
Bro. So, Jack, like, if you used to describe to people that haven't seen you guys' team, then, like, what kind of tag team are the 9-9? Like, when they're watching you in the ring, what can they expect?
Just a solid tag team. I'd say we're pretty traditional. Just with the spots and the teamwork and the team moves we do, cutting the ring in half, and whatnot. It's a good question.
Yeah. Anything you'd add, Dickie?
Yeah, are you meaning kind of like who would we compare ourselves to?
Yeah, even if you was to give some sort of comparison.
I would say maybe like the promos and stuff like that. I would say kind of towards like DX, because we're always just kind of taking the piss and just kind of having a laugh and just we're just two mates that are wrestling and having a good time. So like promo side of things, I would definitely say kind of like a mixture between DX and the B team, if you remember them.
Yeah, I love the B team. I thought it was
Me too.
What about like in ring then? Who would you compare yourself to?
To be honest, I think we're quite unique. So I don't know if there is actually a team I would say like we really like. I would think.
Yeah.
I think
I'm trying to think of teams.
I would think we don't tend to steal things from other teams like we've seen in the past. However, we tend to come up with most of the stuff we do on our own.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a hard question. I think.
Is there anybody that you look to for like research or any other tag teams just to get? I know you said you don't steal things, but just to get those little in between bits. Like what teams do you look at?
I'm forever sending Jack clips from like the Rockers and the Heart Foundation and the Headbangers and all these teams for the 80s, 90s. It was hilarious because obviously we're talking to one of the younger teams that we're going to be working with soon, and they kept bringing up like, who was it?
Yeah,
DIY, and I was like, who's that? And they're like, oh, Gargano and Ciampa, and I'm like, all right, and I was like, that just kind of tells you everything. These young boys sending all this stuff about NXT, and I'm like, check out this rocker spot for 80s, there's magic in it.
I think it's needed though. Like the teams that are like more like the 80s and 90s tag teams, you don't really get them as much now, because it is very spot fest kind of wrestling. Like, what's your both takes on how pro wrestling has gone? Like, I know WWE was like, we're banning this leg slap because that became a huge thing where somebody do a clothesline but probably slap the thigh and everything in between. Like, what's your stance on how, especially independent wrestling's going?
I personally don't. I don't mind a leg slap as long as it's used properly.
Yeah.
But I completely agree and I disagree with the whole taking like a clothesline or taking a back elbow and slapping your own legs. It's just so stupid.
The last thing you're going to do if somebody is running at you in real life to try and clothesline you is just stand there slapping your legs.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Jack?
Yeah, I don't mind just for the leg slap thing. I think if it's use it in moderation, not for every strike you're slapping your leg and whatnot. If it's a big strike, a big super kick or something once in a match, sure.
It's one of the ones we talk about a few times is like it's one of the things we hate about like see when you see some of the younger guys because they're obviously trying to impress. They're going like 100 miles an hour and it's constant big moves, big strikes, and it's like a seal sanctuary because all you can hear is
It's true. It's true.
No, definitely. So going with like Reckless Intent, current tag team champions. I know you're part of the booking there. Like, what's happening with the titles? Like, are you guys still champions?
Well, we're not sure. We had a meeting over Zoom the other day, and we're talking about it. We think probably the best thing to do is just to vacate all titles from when the first lockdown happened, because it's just that it's going to be that annoying thing until you're going to get 101 people cutting all these promos. To like, I'm the longest champion ever. It's like, yeah, you've been in the house for a year.
I thought that was your intention. Like, you know what? We'll keep it on ourselves and we'll vacate it as soon as we become the longest reigning champions.
No, see, that's one of the things you need to learn. I hate having belts. Because it means I need to carry them.
See, you say this, and Sarah's probably going to be listening, and she'll be like, "Yeah, right. Every time you win a belt, you're walking around the house strutting your stuff, thinking you're the Rock with your belt over your shoulder."
Have you been talking to her recently?
She told me. What's your thoughts on championships?
On championships?
Yeah.
Don't let them kids use a big mark.
Depends the level. I don't know what to say. I don't want to insult anyone. I don't mind. Like, at the end of the day, we're kind of just a prop. I think depending on what company it is, belts are held in high regard. So,
I mean, as much as I'm like, I hate belts, I hate need to carry them and stuff like that, obviously it is an honour when a promotion decides that you're good enough to carry their tag division or carry the company or whatever. Like, this is quite a nice thing, but it's just the carrying it.
yeah.
You really don't like carrying it, do you?
No, they take up so much space in my suitcase. I've only got a wee case.
Just be that guy that has it around his waist, like walking through the train station or something.
I've started putting it over the top of my case because it's just so much easier.
It's easier. He just wants people to know he's a champion. It brushes it off.
Give me away here.
So, speaking of championships then, like ICW Barred in the cage against Krieger and Luke Sharp for the ICW World Tag Team Championships. Like, what would that mean to you if you leave ICW Barred as tag team champions?
That's something we've always spoke about, like since the day we started tagging. That was our first main goal that we want to get, was ICW tag titles.
Yeah.
So,
2 years. 2 years in the making. I think ICW was maybe the second or third time we'd ever tagged as well when we first.
We've only done a couple.
So me as well, getting into ICW, obviously Divers has been there since pretty much the start, but ICW is a promotion I watched before I even started wrestling, so to be brought in to get to tag with Dickie and then hopefully on Saturday winning the championships would be probably the main goal when we first started.
Yeah, definitely. What's your thoughts about it being in a cage match then? Like, again, no fans there to feed on the adrenaline. Like,
it's gonna hurt more.
I think the only thing that's disappointing is the fact there's no fans. Yeah. We were obviously booked to be in a cage match right before lockdown happened. With the Kings of Catch, which we were buzzing for because the venue that was going to win usually is a pretty packed venue and there's quite a hot crowd, so we were quite looking forward to it. And then obviously the COVID lockdowns all happened and it was cancelled. So when we found out we were doing a cage match again, we were buzzing, but it's just one of those ones where we're more disappointed there's no crowd.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll still be a good match. We're still going to put 100% into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think this could be the episode on the network that gets more outside eyes looking in, because it's a full show of cage matches? Surely that's going to pique other people's interest if they've not seen ICW before. What do you think about a show all with cage matches?
I think it would definitely attract people to watch, even if if they've not watched any of the ICW stuff previously. Having hopefully see Barred, we'll go back and look at the stuff that's already on there, and then future episodes as well. I think in a show full of cage matches, obviously, like each match has to be kind of have something a bit different.
Yeah.
The same layout and stuff. But I think being a tag and being only tag on the show, we're at an advantage. But our match will be pretty special and different from the singles matches on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think it is hard for those people that are in the singles then to be making sure that it is different? Because however many matches are on the card, there's only so many different spots on a cage you can do, and you don't want to be doing the same spots and things like that. So do you think it is hard to make sure that has been constructed accordingly?
Yeah, I think it is, and I also feel for some of them as well, because obviously I think for the majority of people that are on the card, it's their first cage match.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
it's my first cage.
Me, Jack, I'm pretty sure Krieger and Lou, I'm pretty sure it's all their first one. It's not Booties. Booties have won before. DCT's had won before. Don't think Leighton has. Don't think the girls have. So, like, it's a lot of people's
There we go.
first cage matches. So when they're coming in and realising, like for example, BT Gun, easily one of the best in the country, if not the UK, knowing this is their first cage match and their match is going to be essentially put up beside a BT Gun match on a cage. It's going to be tough because they're going to be obviously having to think outside the box and try and do something different. But
yeah, definitely. Like, I know, like, if I got told I'd be getting put in a cage match, I'd probably shit myself a little bit. But then all the excitement comes back, like all these different spots you've seen over the years and things like that. And most people, if you're having a cage match, you are the only cage match on the show, or there might be the second one. So there is more that you can play with, but it is minimising what you can do, and you'll have to be a lot more creative.
I would definitely say so. And like I say, like especially when it's your first ever cage match, I think there's probably one or two people in there that were maybe panicking a bit, and they probably were nervous. But I'm sure when the show comes out, you see they all smashed out of the park.
Oh, brilliant! What are some of your favourite matches as a team together? Then, like when you look back, whether it's in the Reckless Intent Tag Championships, or I know you've done like three-way TLC matches in ICW. Like, what are some of your favourite moments as a tag team?
I enjoyed the TLC. I really enjoyed the TLC, Shugs. Except for the fact I know I broke my arse bone, but other than that, it was good.
How did you nearly break your ass bone?
Yeah, I took a Deathfly driver over the top rope to the side and landed on a table, but the table was just really awkwardly positioned, so I broke the table and my arse just basically collided with the solid concrete, and I was in so much pain.
Ouch. What's your thoughts on tables? Like, I've been at some shows where I remember one with Progress, and Mark Andrews and Eddie Dennis had huge feud, but they must have tried putting each other through the table about 6 times, and it was literally just bouncing off, and the table was just bending and then coming back, and it kind of deflated. Have you had any problems like that in the past, or do you have any worries where you are having to do these sort of spots and you're like, well,
Yeah,
people are only going to remember the table just bouncing and not working properly?
well, I learned the hard way not to just to ignore it, because when I first started, I bring it back to Booty again. I was wrestling BT Gun, and it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I think it was originally supposed to be a 2 out of 3 fall tables match, but they only brought 2 tables, so we had to change it to just a 2 out of 3 falls. And I'm pretty sure I'll need to try and send you the picture. There's a picture of me trying to like DVD Booty through this table, and the table just bends and just pings us off. We go like literally flying to the other side of the ring, and we eventually snapped that table, brought out a second table, and it happened again where it just wouldn't break, and we kept going, and like you say, it just takes away from it, like when it's not went through the first time. So from then on, I kind of I'm of the opinion that see if it doesn't break, move on.
Yeah, definitely. What about yourself, Jack? Like, how did you find the TLC?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, I've never been in a TLC match before, never been in a ladder match. But yeah, I think it went really well. I think we're Kings of Catch as well. We were discussing this the other day as well. Like we're a team that we've had the best chemistry with. I think we've maybe wrestled them 3 or 4 times. Yeah, and I think every match has been pretty good. Like, came back happy, and just have really good chemistry with them.
What is it about them that you've got good chemistry with?
I just think that because they're the same as us, where we're wanting to work as a team. Like, we're concentrating on being a team as opposed to concentrating on being, big singles superstars. Whatever, we're actually trying to be a team, and obviously Kings of Catch, we're working to be known as a team for years, and that's why we're quite excited about the possibility of like some of the teams that are now coming through the ranks and stuff like that, and some of the teams that have been about for years that we're hoping to get matches with once shows and stuff are back up and running. Yeah,
definitely. Was it the Kings of Catch that you had Sarah return and you was having the 6-man tag with Sarah?
Was that for Source?
Yeah, one at Source, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, had you worked with Sarah in the past, or?
I've worked with Sarah almost my entire career, so like she was there when I was part of STI, She was the manager.
Jack, who did you prefer teaming with, Sarah or Dickie?
It's all right. You can tell them the truth. It was me.
So, what are your goals within tag team wrestling? And like you mentioned, ICW, is the plans for you to both do your singles things, or when companies are coming interested, are you trying to get booked as a tag team all over?
Well, yeah, we were actually talking about this yesterday. We've had a couple of companies like approach us separately, and the very first thing I do and Jack does is say, "Well, I'm part of a team, so are you interested in bringing the team in?" Because, like we say, we're trying to be booked as a team as opposed to single superstars, because we feel like there's a lack of proper teams throughout the country. So we're hoping we can kind of tap into that. I don't want to say niche market, but into that kind of market, we go, no, that's a team as opposed to that's just two wrestlers that are being lumped together.
Yeah, you see that a lot, and it doesn't seem to be the case in Scotland though. I think Scotland do have a lot of good tag teams, but here in England, you do have each company will probably maybe have one good tag team or maybe a second, but they don't have that big tag team wrestling scene really. So is that something you're hoping to do? Is break out more into England, maybe across Europe?
Yeah, we've spoken about that. Like, that's one of our goals is to try and get work, abroad or down south or whatever as a team. We've walked down south a few times as a team so far. We've been down for like Target and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just
definitely the main goal, getting out of Scotland as a team and taking on new faces and being shown in new companies.
Yeah, definitely. When you mentioned like down south, I was thinking like Plymouth. I forget down south to use like way up north for me with Target. But like, is there any teams you're interested in facing, whether it is England or maybe on the American Indies?
We were talking about this all day, but we really want to work Kings of North.
Yeah.
Like, we both think they're brilliant. It's one of those ones where I've seen to Jack that if we do have to work them two, though, they two are in great shape, and so is Jack. So I'll need to get my fat arse to the gym.
What is it about Kings like you both want to work with for?
Well, I've seen them a few times. Obviously, we've been in ICW and Discovery Wrestling, and they're like us, like a team. They're not two singles guys, but they're a team. And I've watched them had good matches with Kings of Catch as well. Good chemistry with them.
Yeah.
Because of the bond we had with Kings of Catch, then maybe we'd have the same with Kings of North. In fact, I'm pretty confident we would. It's just one of those things I'd be really confident that these guys we'd have good matches with.
Yeah, definitely. What's your thoughts on freeways? Like, just to kind of divert, I was thinking like you, Kings of North and Kings of Catch, but I've seen that you've been in a lot of multi-tag team matches. Like, do you prefer that one-on-one where you can maybe focus on the psychology a little bit more, or don't you mind the multi-tag matches?
I don't mind the multi-tag matches. Like, I prefer it, like you say, if it's just us versus another team.
Yeah.
Because obviously we can concentrate on the match and concentrate on a good story and our psychology and stuff like that. But sometimes it's just, if there's more than one team, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Because it's constant. It's just boom, 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 boom. There's no time to essentially tell a story. It's just, let's go out and have some fun and have like a crowd have fun watching it.
Yeah, definitely. What about yourself, Jack?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like Divers said, with the tag like 2v2, you can tell a story. It's a lot easier. Obviously, more bodies and more teams that are involved. It gets a bit more chaotic, and it's more of like a spot fest.
Yeah.
Such. But we're good. Like, we've got a good place and for telling stories and stuff. When we're line, I know we've done a couple in ICW. But I've had good stories on for each team. So there's a place. But if I got to choose, I'd pick 2v2 every time.
Yeah. Do you prefer being able to tell the story more than the typical indie match then?
Definitely. I would say, like we were saying, we're more of a, I suppose, old school kind of team. Like we try to more just use psychology, cut off the ring and tell a story that way, as opposed to, like you say, like the just spot after spot after spot after spot.
Yeah.
So I would say we definitely prefer telling stories to spot fests.
Who else do you want to face then? So you got Kings of the North. Is there anybody else that are on that bucket list? Whether it is somebody coming from America or somebody else across the UK or Ireland?
We're talking about Pretty Deadly. I think we'd have a decent match with them. Obviously, we've both worked with Mark Coffey and Wolfgang separately, but we'd love to work with them as a team.
Yeah.
And obviously, the sort of dream match would be the Undisputed Era, but I mean, the chances of that happening, I think, are pretty slim now.
NXT UK then, is that a goal? Is that what you're both working towards, or is it something different? Because two of the teams you mentioned, well, three including Undisputed Era, are all tied to WWE there.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. I mean, that we're no daft. We know they've got a massive roster as it is, and obviously I'm starting to be a bit advanced in my years, so they might not be all that interested in us as a team. But I mean, if they were to come chapping, we certainly wouldn't sniff at it.
Yeah, is that the ultimate goal though, or because it's AEW? There's so many different options now. Is like, what are, as a tag team, your goals?
Well, we did talk about it a bit, didn't we? Like, once obviously lockdown and that finishes and we can go and get some new gear made and like proper promo picks and stuff like that, we would approach the likes of AEW and WWE, NXT UK or whatever, and just see what happens. I mean,
still throwing our names out there. You've seen, like, there's other people getting, like, there's plenty of opportunities going. It's a reachable goal now more than it ever has been. Yeah, I'm just honestly, like, it sounds cheesy and stuff, but I'm just enjoying tagging in. If it gets us to these new levels and these bigger companies, and then great. But the way it's going, I feel like we're going up anyway with opportunities we're getting on Saturday. So yeah, just taking everything as it comes, really, and then if the big opportunities come, then great.
Oh, fantastic. Like, just to throw a spanner, like, what if, like, they came knocking and say WWE wanted Dickie and AEW wanted yourself? Like, what would happen there? Like, would you divide, or would you want to do it together?
I think that's one of those bridges we'd need to cross when it came to it. But I mean, I can highly doubt.
I would love, you know what? I'd love that. Give us that opportunity. If there's a time where WWE and AEW are fighting over each of us, then great. You know what? Oh, Dickie, WWE want you. Oh, Jack, AEW want you. All right. That's a good. I mean, there's worse situations.
Aye, that's true.
It's just been like a year-long pandemic, so like, Jesus.
How excited are you to be in front of fans again then?
Can't wait.
Can't come quick enough. Like,
what team do you want to face?
You usually have that problem, do you? Yeah.
What team do you want to, like, that first match in front of an audience again? Like, what match would you want?
That's a hard one. If there was no travel restrictions or anything like that, I would say probably I would love the first match to be against Kings of the North because it's something new.
Yeah.
No, not only for us, not only for them, but for the fans as well. It's something fresh, something exciting for them to see.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's one or two sort of young boys that are starting to tag together that are coming through the ranks. So maybe just a quick, fast-paced, exciting match for one of them.
Yeah. What about yourself, Jack?
No, I'd say the same. The Kings of the North. I actually think by the time shows come out, like when shows are able to go on, but people want that match. Just with the knowledge.
And they've said they'll be keeping an eye on the cage match, so you know.
Yeah. So,
It's open. Is he like again cage? You've had TLCs. Is there any stipulations that you want again? Like whether it is with Kings of the North or anybody else? Is there that one gimmick match you both want to?
What was that gimmick match we pitched for Fear and Loathing? Remember?
what one's that? Oh, but yeah, the double.
Yeah. We pitched for a tag team casket match.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't think so. That's why we pitched it. Well, like we could get a coffin made big enough to hold the both of us, or both the two people, and then obviously the goal would be to get both opponents into the casket and shut it. And I was like, I don't think it's ever been done before, and I think is it actually something that people would be like, kind of want to see that?
That would be like I can just picture the comedy spot like you two. You've thrown one person in already, then you start battering the second one, and whilst your back's turned to the casket, that person sits out, climbs out, walking around the ring. You throw the second person in, and you just like dancing around, thinking you've won the casket match, and just get sat like blindsided.
Yeah, I think that was the almost like gimmick match with. Other than the cage match, because we were looking forward to doing the cage match, but yeah. We pitched the double casket match.
Why did that get turned down?
It didn't get turned down.
It was meant to start last year because everyone went tits up.
It was we pitched it at the show in SWG3 where we worked.
There you go.
Krieger and Lou.
Oh no, it was last year's then.
Yeah. It was net SWG3 in Glasgow. It was there we pitched it. We pitched it to Scott Reed, who actually seemed to be really interested in the idea. But then obviously, like we say, all the lockdown and stuff happened, and Fear and Loathing was cancelled, and it was just didn't happen.
Is it something you're gonna want to bring to the WWE network then?
Possibly. I mean, like I say, they're always looking for new ideas, and we're still really interested in doing it. We think it could be quite interesting. We think fans would be interested in it.
Yeah.
Like for your face, as soon as I said it, you were like, "Oh,
that works."
Yeah.
Nah, it's refreshing as well though, because it's so hard to get new firsts, especially in wrestling, because
yeah, exactly.
Everything's done now, and hopefully like you get that match moving forward.
I'm just waiting on somebody watching this and then it appearing on a show somewhere, and I'll be like, "Bastard!"
Compose. Oh, that'd be good. And like, yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen for you. And nobody like kind of takes that first away.
We get retweeted by a very, very angry tweet.
You stole our gimmick. But no, like, so you mentioned some of the younger teams then, and you mentioned a lot of new people coming from ICW. Jack, we'll start with yourself. Who's been impressing you, like some of the new guys coming through?
Well, we worked a match recently with a new young up-and-coming team, Alex Parker and Logan Smith. They don't have a name yet, but we're still going to work on one. So by the time this is out, maybe we have. But yeah, just really impressed with them. Trying to think of other people I've worked. Obviously, been working with Krieger a lot. I'm trying to think. But no, the Alex Parker, I'm trying to think of new up-and-comers that people won't have heard of. So Alex Parker and Logan Smith definitely up there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed working with them. They're just two young lads like coming up through the ranks, and you can tell they're just eager to learn and to get better. So like we both came away from that match, like we left at the venue and we were both like buzzing. Like it was just great.
Yeah,
just it was so refreshing to have two young guys that were just like there to listen, there to learn, and there to better themselves. It was great.
Amazing. Is there anybody else that stood out for you?
So I don't really want to call him up and coming because he's been about for a while, but he's only just recently broke into ICW. It's Theodoros. Like he's one to watch. He's going to be a star. I imagine just like Jackson there, like he'll be signed at some point.
Yeah. What is it about him?
He's just got an absolute love for the business. He's just constantly trying to make himself better. He's great in the ring. He's just
his gear's good.
he works really hard, and that's something I think that goes a long way. Is when people work hard.
Yeah, brilliant. So going to your Reckless stuff then, with you being the booker, do you have to say who's getting booked? If so, like, what do people have to do if they wanted to be part of like Reckless? Like, what do you look for in a booker?
Just like I say, hard work. Hard work. Send me. If I get sent, see, this is the issue. Like, I get sent so many CVs. Like, I guarantee you, like, I'll get at least 5 or 6 a week, maybe more. I'm assuming it'll probably go higher once shows in that back running again. 9 times out of 10, there's not enough in them. If you get what I mean, like, it's just, you can tell it's just somebody that's just quickly thrown together a text script, put a couple of links to matches. Like, I had one the other day, the guy didn't even attach promo pictures or anything like that. So I'm like, you're obviously not wanting that much, or you'd have notable names that you've wrestled, you would have numerous matches, you'd have a highlight reel, you'd have promo pictures, you would have everything attached to it, and you would tell me what you want to bring to the company. But instead, it's just these cold calling CVs that I'm just like, I am not interested in reading a CV that you've sent to 100 other promotions.
Yeah. Nah, I get it. Like, in my shoot job, I've got to have that conversation with my customers all the time, saying like, look, let's have your CV, and they're just sending the same one to anybody and stuff like that. But you mentioned like notable names. What if it is people where they are just breaking out? They may have had the handful. Would you still consider it if they've got the gear and the look? Because
definitely,
obviously, sometimes people have that untapped potential.
Yeah, definitely. I've like I say, when I'm saying like, I don't want to see that cold calling CV. If they put effort into their CV, I'm more than happy to have a look at it and give them a chance if I feel that they've earned it. But like I say, I think the problem we have just now is I'm a stickler for, like I say, hard work, and I just feel. I mean, this might be the old man in me, but I just feel like so many trainees nowadays are getting things handed to them left, right, and centre, and this is the problem, because they're getting stuff handed to them. It's almost like they feel like they don't have to do much to get work, so they'll just send you this cold call CV that's so basic and it's got next to nothing on it. And if there's got next to nothing on it, then what's keeping my attention? What's making me go, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give that guy a go. If it's just a cold calling CV with one promo picture and a YouTube link, I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to go, right, not for me, bin.
Yeah. Okay. So to kind of wrap things up for yourselves then, obviously you've got the cage match coming up this Saturday, ICW Barred on the WWE Network, but it's kind of like some fantasy booking. You mentioned the teams that you want to wrestle, but from anybody like past or present, like Jack, we'll start with yourself. Like, what would be that dream tag team? Like, even if they're retired or like
Heart Foundation.
Why Heart Foundation?
Just again, like us, like the Brett and Anvil, like solid tag team. They're not like I prefer that old school wrestling.
Yeah.
Like when the spot, like I was gonna name names and stuff, but with Flippy and the spots and stuff. Like, I want to wrestle and I want to sell and I want to like make a story, and they two were arguably the best tag team ever. So yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself, Dickie?
Probably.
And you're not allowed to say the same. Let's give me something.
No, I say the Rockers or Edge and Christian.
Yeah. What about why them two?
Again, they're just two teams that I enjoy watching. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Rockers match or an Edge and Christian match that I've not liked. Edge and Christian as well. When we were talking about earlier, like teams that we can maybe compare ourselves to, the promo wise. Again, Edge and Christian, I'd say, probably fall into the same category as us, because they were just two best pals, having a laugh and just enjoying what they're doing and making the best of it. So
Definitely. So, when the square go happens, you're not allowed to have this reunion and you're not allowed to hug in the middle of the ring because that means one of you is going to WWE and the other fucking off to AEW. So
That's not true.
Don't let it happen.
We hugged in Alaska, we're going, we're both still here.
I think we've hugged in both.
I think we have hugged every single square goal we've had so far.
There we go.
So, boys, thanks for coming on. Like again, we'll have to get you on like separately as well to speak more of like your individual career. But I wanted to focus on the 9-9. Do you drop the Brooklyn like 9-9 in your promos or anything? Like
All the time.
Yeah.
just
All the time.
Mid-sides, do it whenever.
And we've started using Holt's
mid-match,
punk line as well.
Mid-match, start screaming 9-9 at them.
I think we've done that quite a bit, to be fair.
And then I think we've done that in the square go.
I think we did as well, now I think about it,
Oh, brilliant. Well, boys, thanks for coming on. Like, where can they find you individually, like on social medias?
You go first, Jack.
So Twitter and Instagram's the same handle for me, so it's Jack Morris X17, and then on Facebook I've got Jack Morris Wrestling, and we also have the 9-9 page.
Brilliant. Dickie?
For mine's on everything is just at Dickie Divers, and my Twitch channel is Dickie Divers 07.
Brilliant. What stuff are you doing on Twitch?
Every Sunday, 7 o'clock, I'll do online seasons with BT Gun, which is hilarious because I am terrible. And you hear BT Gun call me some rather naughty names, shall we say. And I also do sort of WarZone and Call of Duty sometimes during the week or towards the end of the weekend.
Where do you jump in Verdansk? What's your goal? Where do you jump?
Me and my pals, you check the circle first, and then 9 times out of 10 we'll try and jump out the circle and then work our way in.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is sometimes because we jump out the circle and work our way in, people pick us off on the way in because they're literally watching the edge of the circle. So we have to work our way in dead quiet. But again, that's a game I'm not that great at, so you get to hear my pals call me funny names. In fact, there's a video on my Twitch channel I'm sure I put it up on Twitter as well, and it's called the trophy system incident, where you get to hear my pal scream and shout at me for doing something rather fucking stupid.
Did you shoot your own trophy system?
No, I told him we had a quad bike, and he came to pick me up, and I told him to stop dead so I could put the trophy system on, and he was like, "No, just jump on," and I was like, "No, it's fine, I'll put the trophy system on," and then as I done it, he gets sniped, and then I was trying to find the sniper, and then he sniped me, and that was us dead. So my pal wasn't happy.
I might have to jump on just so like you just hear me raging. I normally drop hills. Hills tends to be the place I go, and normally it is working my way in as well. My team hate it because they'll be like, there's a trio in there or there's a quad in there, depending how many of us there is, and I'm like, great, pick up a shotgun and just try and run in. Like I'm always that guy where they're like, don't shoot yet. I'm like, too late. Or it's like you see the red smoke and they've bought the loadout, and I could just have like the shit green or common guns that you just picked up, and I'm already running over the mountain trying to go get them, and it's like
come at making this even funnier is me and you're talking about WarZone and we're knowing exactly what we're talking about, but see if you actually just looked at Jack, he's not got a fucking Scooby what we're on about. He's literally sitting there going
I don't play video games, I just lift weights.
I used to.
He played The Last of Us.
Yeah. Oh my god, that got me hooked. I went out and bought the new one straight away. Completed them both in like 2 weeks.
Aye.
Amazing games. Like
I
think the first one I played 4 times back to back, just going up the levels, and I think it was like my first ever tweet. Like I actually created Twitter for it just to have that brag, and I managed to do the hardest difficulty on the first one without dying.
What was it called again? Grounded?
Yeah, ungrounded.
Yeah.
So my mate was like, just skip the one below, just go straight to grounded. So I looked at some YouTubers and I was like, right, let's have a look how hard it is. I was like, fuck's sake, this is going to be hard. And the missus comes in and she's like, I'm sure I've seen you on this already, like this bit. I was like, 4th playthrough. And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm just going up all the difficulties. And she's just looking at me with like, why? Like, why are we even doing that? And then she'll come through and she's like, you've been in that corner for quite a bit. I was like, there's a clicker somewhere. I'm waiting for it to walk past. And it was like times where it normally take like a couple of minutes to go through, about 10, 20 minutes. Like when you fall through and you're in where you have to turn the generator on and all the clickers come through in the first one.
I hate
On
that bit.
Grounded, that took me about an hour to sneak through because I'm like, I can't die. And it was literally an hour and then I have to go get it back because you barely get any loot.
Yeah. I hated that bit with a passion. Hated it.
Try it on Grounded, you'll love it. Twitch it as well. That'd be comedy gold.
I'm sure I've done it on hard, but I've not tried the hardest mode yet.
I'm an easy mode kind of guy. Like.
You want to enjoy your games and not get stressed.
Yeah, but the clickers are horrifying. Like, Jesus.
They step it up in the second one though, with all the different like bloaters and the one that just smash through the wall whilst you're trying to squeeze through.
And the big Rat King as well.
Yeah. Which did you prefer? 1 or 2?
1.
I preferred 1.
I loved 2. Like I don't understand all the hate it gets. I don't get it. I thought it was a brilliant game, but I still preferred the first one. I prefer some of the mechanics in the second one, but I preferred the first game story wise.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, how did you both feel at the end of it with Abby? Like, because at one point I was wanting Abby to fucking kill Ellie. Like,
I was constantly changing my mind on who I liked.
Yeah.
My main issue was that you play through as Ellie, and you do that bit where you fall through the vent and the dog attacks and you stab it.
Yeah.
And then when you go Abby, you're playing catch with that very dog, and you don't actually realise that that's the dog you stabbed until you're playing catch with it, and then you feel really bad because you're like, oh no, that dog.
I think that's where they've done it really well though, because when I had to be Abby, I was like, I don't want to do this. I was like, you're just ruining the game. And then a couple of hours later, I'm like, please don't kill Abby. Like, I'd prefer Ellie to get killed. And really good.
I think it was a perfect sort of way to show you there's always two sides of the coin, always two sides to a story. Because obviously you hate her to start with, but then when you see her side of the story, you're actually like, it's actually pretty similar to Ellie.
Yeah, definitely.
Just from the other side.
Are you looking forward to the TV show?
Yeah, I just hope they don't ruin it. To be honest, it's one of those things like because I like The Last of Us so much, I'm just hoping that they don't basically shit over it.
Yeah. What about yourself, Jack?
Nah, same. Just like with everything, whether it's TV into movie into TV, like game into TV, just really fucking ruin it. It's only like I've had a PS4 for years and like hadn't played it, and it wasn't until the hype for The Last of Us 2 came out, and then Divers told me how good a game it was, and I was like, okay, I'll play it, and then I was hooked. So now like, don't ruin the only game I've like played in the last 8 years.
See, so when this TV show's out, we're going to do another one, and Jack's going to probably be sat in the corner depressed because I've ruined it.
Yeah, playing no games. I'll go back to Sonic or something. Can't go wrong with that.
Oh, well, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you do follow 9-9. Boys, good luck on Saturday in the cage match, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having us.
Cheers.
Everybody, find me at the Kate Johansson Show, YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit like. Until next time, bye for now.
Friday morning.